Good evening, chat. And Jay-Z. You're multitasking. That's unallowed. I demand 113% of your attention. Say, alright, this isn't gonna work. My hoodie's green and it's interacting with my chroma badly, so 1 second. $114.5. I have spoken. You can find about 60%. Well, I mean, to be fair, you're prepping for a hurricane to land, so I can understand that you may be mildly distracted. Damn. Well, homework's important. Probably knock that out. A little late to be doing homework now, although I mean it's a little earlier for you than it is me because you're a little further west, but it's still pretty late. Jesus. So before we get into the epic lore drop that I know you're just fucking drooling for, how are you feeling? Like, not you, Jay-Z. I know how you're feeling. You're watching for a giant fucking rainstorm to hit you. Our mod here, Death of All Bugs, a la FNAF enthusiast, is I did a celebration stream the other day. She just beat cancer. Like, just fucking beat it. Just beat the tar out of that sumbitch. It's the only good news I've had all week. That's awesome. All right, let's get into the news. There's a lot of backstory to go along with this, so bear with me. There's so much backstory that I already have a diagram set up to get me started with the storytelling, I think. All right, so we're gonna go back. We're gonna rewind my life about 23 years, I think. Yeah, it's that epic, and it's a big story. It's gonna cover about 5 years of my life or more. So I was 19, I think, and I met a very nice young lady via a website that I think is still up. Actually, let's find out. Let's do a little explore. I'm gonna do it on another tab just in case there's something awful there. Let me just look it up real quick. Wait, let me do it. Let me do this with an incognito tab because Google likes to do terrible things to me when I search for weird stuff. So. It is. Oop. Got it. The wife has delivered me a hot cup of coffee, and it is almost over full. Why is my connection to the site not secure? Site settings. That's not what I wanted. I want certificate information. It's Oh, because it's HTTP. It's not even. Why would you throw this error? Oh, okay. Because it's because it's not an HTTPS site, and I'm in incognito mode, and Google likes to be really bitchy about that. So we're gonna continue to the site, and it is not up anymore. Okay. All right. So let's get back to this. I was 19, and the dating pool around here at the time, and even now to a degree, was pretty slim pickings. I mean, you had your choice of women from like 3 families, and they were all fucking inbred. I mean, am I wrong? I'm not saying you're inbred, dear. I'm just saying you know the area as well as I do. And if they weren't a member of one of those three families, then, well, that was a bit of a thing too, but that's a little irrelevant. Anyway, to broaden the scope of my search, I went to the internet, and I came across a cool little website that was free at the time. It was called Romantic Planet. And I know that sounds really cheesy, but it was one of the very first, like, real dating sites. In fact, it's older than Match.com. Not all of PA is inbred. I'm from Philly. We are not inbred down there. Oh shit. I didn't realize that Automod Automod got him. Anyway. Oh, I got ads coming. We're gonna hold off and wait on that. Yeah. Be nice. My ads pay me. They make me money. I need that, right? Especially right now. Because things are about to get probably expensive. More expensive than I want them to be. More on that in a minute after the ads. If he even gets ads, he might not. Not everybody gets ads. It's all targeted advertising, so 10 cents. Yeah, that's really optimistic. Math, I make about 2 cents an entire stream. Literally. Nice. Are these ads gonna drop? Like, come on, it says ads starting soon, and it's just not. It's not triggering anything. I don't have StreamerBot running. Fuck. Pre-roll ads are disabled for 32 minutes. The ad's in progress. Okay. You can see how salt and pepper I am really badly. Camera does me no justice. That's rude. Yeah. Is that what that is? Is that the hairspray shining at me? Oh. Oh god, I'm really getting thin in the middle. Holy hell. That's stress right there. Alright, we have 14 seconds of ads left. Oh, that's special. I mean, I'm gonna be 100% honest with you, FNAF, I really considered just shaving my fucking head. But anyway, alright. So I meet this young lady on this website, and we conversed for a while. We hit it off pretty well, and we eventually meet up, hang out for a while. Anyway, to make that very long story short, we decided this is very funny. we enjoyed each other's company enough that we wanted to live together, and we also discovered that it would be cheaper for us to live together than it would be to continue visiting one another from across the states. So we literally moved in together to save money. And that worked for a little while. Yes, that's probably where we really went wrong, was right there. Like that's entirely the wrong reason. But anyway, we lived in a little apartment, and we're gonna mark that apartment right here. We'll just circle it real quick in green, show you where we are in the story. Okay, in this little apartment here. Okay, this was a cute little place that was above a tool shop, and we lived here for about 2 years, and things were tough because it was cold, and it sucked. But you know, we did the best we could do. You know, I worked for a construction company at the time, and I don't have a driver's license. So what I would do is I would go from here down this road here, and then would take this back road out this way, which I can't give you the names of any of the roads because I'm trying really hard not to give away where I physically am for the most part. But this was a pretty main highway right here. We're gonna avoid that. So I would take these back roads, and I ended up actually worked in a little community right here. So this was nice, right? This worked out really well for me, and I could just stay off the road since driving to work, you know, was pretty much essential. While this looks like a short little hop, none of this is to scale. So this was actually I want to say this was probably like a 4 or 5 mile drive every day that I would make. And while this looks very straight, this is the windiest goddamn road you have ever seen in your life. Okay? And it's full of blind curves, and it's terrible, and I almost wrecked a couple of times. It was real bad, but that's because I was driving 70 miles an hour, and I shouldn't have been on a windy road. Anywho, me and the girl I was living with, we had it kind of rough here, and we started having a lot of arguments, like a lot of arguments. She was very suspicious of me cheating on her, even though all I was doing was working every day. And she was just like super paranoid about me meeting some other woman while I was at work. And she started sabotaging my ability to get to work every day. And it kind of pissed me off. So I packed up and left. I 100% left, just packed up and left. And I went this way, out to another town. Now, I was only out there for like a week, and that was a even more miserable situation. It turned out really, really bad, and without getting into the specifics of it, like it got a little bit rapey. It was bad, and I had to go. So, I came back, but instead of going here, I went to my parents' house, which was another 8 miles this way. Anyway, some time went on, and she eventually started calling and looking for me and stuff, and I was like, all right, well, maybe things weren't that bad. Maybe we'll give it another go. So I come back. But when I come back, I discovered that she told the landlord here that she was moving out. And I'm like, oh, well, that's bad. So I went to go have a talk with the landlord. He was like, no, I've already re-rented the apartment. Beat. So I'm like, well, fuck, okay. So we finagled some magic, and we ended up getting an apartment here. Now, this little break in the highway, this is like 11, 12 miles. This is a big distance here, okay? This is a whole nother town. There was a bar right here. That's important because I drank in that bar a lot. Anyway, so we lived here for about a year. And we ended up getting skunks underneath of the house here. And they were annoying me pretty badly. I don't like skunks. So I have a heart trap, and I tried to trap them and like take them away. And I was gonna release them elsewhere, you know. The cool thing about skunks is if you get them in a trap, and you put like a blanket or anything to cover them so they can't see, they will not spray, which is dope. Because I was going to move them in a car, and I didn't want to be trapped in a car with that. That would have sucked. So I went to set up the trap, and I set up the trap like along the side of the house here. Okay. And little sons of bitches kept getting in there and eating all the tuna out of the trap and not spring the trap. And I'm like, are you for real right now? Like, really? So I get a little more creative. And by a little creative, I mean I was laying in the backyard like a sniper with my 22, popping them in the head as they came out from under the house. So, all in all, over the course of about 2 weeks, I gunned down probably 18 skunks. Except for one. And the one I didn't shoot because I wasn't allowed to. The bitch was albino, and it was the one that was giving birth to all the other skunks. And you could tell because her ass was this wide. She was huge. And she was also very cute. She was adorable because, it's albino, right? Like, albino's cool. I have no idea how she survived as long as she did. Oh, wait, because she was hiding under my house her whole life. So anyway, yeah, no joke, dude. I was laying in the ground with I had, you'll know it. It's, a Remington bolt action 22 with a field scope. You know, the 22 that everybody has owned. I had one. That's what I was popping them with. So, anyway, one day I pops a skunk and it's like Saturday night. I don't work on the weekends. And, that actually wasn't working here anymore. I was working at this other little side place here, a little private community in this split up here. And, because I didn't work that day, I had like no way to get rid of the skunk. So it laid around for a day and it smelled fucking awful, and it's a dead skunk. On top of the fact that it started decaying very quickly because it's like the end of summer. Yeah, fucking Remington Bolt Action 22 is one of the best rifles ever made. I don't care what anybody says. They're awesome. So, right as I shoot this final skunk, and I have no way to get rid of it, it's gonna sit around for a day, and then I'm gonna bag it up, and I'm gonna take it to this community. They have a dump there, and they were letting me throw the animal carcasses in there without much of an issue. So I was doing that. Well, because I waited for a day, my neighbors got kind of pissed, specifically these people here on the far end. Okay, this is before we had the term Karen, but 100% they are the epitome of what a Karen is. Okay, except on top of being a Karen and a Chad living there, they had a son who had like Down syndrome or something. Like, I don't know what his issue was, but he was very not okay, and he thought it was okay to let the air out of people's tires with a switchblade. Why you give a kid like that a knife and let him play with it is beyond me. But anyway, by the way, I'd like to point out he never did mess with my vehicles because he was terrified of me, and for good reason. I don't care how retarded you are. If you touch my tires, I'm probably going to hurt you. That's, that was like $600 I didn't have. Because he didn't just like let the air out of one tire, he let the air out of all of them. He thought it was very funny. And by obviously when I said let the air out of, I mean he was just wholesale slashing the sidewalls and expecting people's fucking insurance to cover it because he's got problems. Anywho, that's a side point. They got upset about the skunk, and they complained to the landlord who owned all of this. And the landlord sneaks up and just posts an eviction notice and leaves. Didn't even knock on the door. I watched him through my front window. He was very much afraid of me. He should be. More on that later. Maybe. Anyway, he sneaks away and he goes back to work, which is like down here at the place you worked when I met you, honey. Yeah, Donald. I don't know if he still worked there, but anyway, he was the activities director when this happened. So anyway, so he sneaks back to work. The girl I was living with, I'm trying very hard not to use her name, goes to work, and he fires her. So he evicted us and fired her in the same day to just be 100% rid of us. She was pregnant at that time when he fired her. So this guy is a real fucking win-win. Okay? He evicts us out of our home, fires her while she's pregnant. Like, that's fantastic. So now our income is basically halved. Actually more than halved because she made more money than I did. And, you know, she's expecting a child. Our lives are about to get substantially more expensive. And we're about to be homeless. So things got rough real quick. And this created a lot of, like, friction in our relationship as well, as you would expect it would, right? Like, at that point, you're super snippy about everything. Well, she goes through my wallet. She finds some phone numbers in my wallet that, because remember, again, she is very paranoid that I am cheating on her all the time. She goes through my wallet. She finds some phone numbers she doesn't recognize. They were for my boss and his wife, but whatever. And a few other people that I was actually talking to related to business. But anyway, she didn't recognize them. Immediately thought that they must be that's some bitch's number, quote unquote. Anyway, so she got real mad. A fucking fight ensued. I was like, yeah, no, we're fucking done. I'm not doing this. And I packed up and left. Again. And I went back to my parents' house. Again. For about 3 days. And then I went to Canada. Where I was promptly asked to leave. No kidding. I never even got through customs. They promptly asked me to leave. Okay, so that plan didn't work. Now what do I do? I go back to my parents' house for, I don't know, like probably 2 weeks. She moved again to another town, which is not on this diagram. And she calls me. Actually, it's probably more than 2 weeks, probably about a month or so. She calls me and she's like, hey, I have a problem. And I'm like, all right, well, what's up? And she's like, well, me and this girl I was working with when I was still at, this place here that remains unnamed, wanted to start like a business doing like floral arrangements and stuff, and they wanted to sell the arrangements online. I'm like, that is the dumbest idea I've ever heard in my life. Seriously, like, that is stupid. Like, are you gonna ship nationally? Like, why do you need a website for that? But whatever floats your boat. If you need a website, that's cool. So I'm like, all right, I can help with that. That's fine. It's just business. I can help. It goes over. I set up she had a spare computer, a little compact thing, which I installed. What version did I install on that? I think it was Red Hat 4, Red Hat 5, or CentOS of some sort. I installed Linux. I built a web server environment. I started building a website and stuff. Like, literally inside of about 6 hours, I was well into development here. And I already had like basic notes and stuff of what she wanted to accomplish with this. So I had a pretty general idea of where to go to build a web form and whatnot. And she made me dinner and stuff since I was there for so long. And everything was going pretty peachy keen. And I don't know, sometime after dinner, I started feeling kind of ill. And I was concerned that, like, I was getting sick, and I didn't want to go back to my parents' house with an illness because my dad's fairly old, and I didn't want him to get it. So I was like, well, do you mind if I bunk here for a couple of days? You know, just until this passes, I'll just keep working on the thing as much as I can. And she's like, yeah, no, that's fine. That's fine. Do that. I'm like, okay. Probably should have known that something was up there, but I didn't. So, over the next coming days, I just felt sicker and sicker and sicker, to the point getting up and walking across the room was literally the most painful experience of my life. And I like to point out that I have had tetanus. Tetanus is exceedingly painful, and I managed to belly crawl down a flight of stairs with that. I could not walk across the room. I was in such like gut-wrenching pain. My lower back hurt. My colon hurt. Like it was bad. So I was like, all right, well, that's... Anyway, sorry I got distracted. Shiny thing. Eventually, the time came, Jamie, I fucking said her name, god damn it. She needed to, deliver the baby. As I said, she was pregnant. And, she went and did that. And as soon as she did that, I started feeling better. Like, a lot better. And, like, I went to the hospital with her. I helped deliver the baby. You know, just hold a leg, you know, do the things the doctor tells you to do. And without going into too much detail there. And it was nice. I had a beautiful bouncing baby girl. And as soon as the baby was delivered, I got called out into the hallway, and Children and Youth Services wanted to talk to me. I'm like, what? Really? They apparently had a report that I was exceedingly dangerous and that I would hurt the baby. And I was like, oh, okay. I see what we're doing here. That's fine. So I got into a screaming match with the lady from Children and Youth in the hallway of the hospital. I got into a screaming match with the lady that replaced her because I sent her out of the building crying. I was absolutely enraged that anybody had the gall to say that I would hurt my own flesh and blood. Like, really? I mean, don't get me wrong, I really didn't like her mother anymore at that point. Like, me and her were just fucking done. Like, I couldn't even stand her most of the time. But to say that I would hurt the baby just because of her, or for any reason, is just ridiculous. Absolutely ridiculous. So, anywho, I went back to the apartment that I had been staying at, and I called my buddy, and I was like, yo, bro, baby's born, you know, it's a little girl, and stuff. I explained all the stuff with Children and Youth. He's like, bro, you need a break. Like, it's been a fucking day. We're gonna go out, we're gonna have some fun, we're gonna party, we're gonna celebrate, we're gonna smoke some cigars. He said, well, you're gonna smoke some cigars. He doesn't smoke. And we went out for 3 days. And it was a blast. It was a really good time. We had a lot of fun. There were no women there. There was no bullshit. It was just me, him, a couple of other dudes we knew, from the local area, guys that were like part of the car clubs and stuff. You know, we all just went out and we just partied for 3 days. And I was drunk and I was smoking stogies outside, and it was a good time. And anyway, when I came back to I can actually clear this because none of this is important anymore. When I came back to the apartment, to make Children and Youth happy, she decided that she was going to stay at her mom's house and that I would stay at the apartment. And I'm like, but this isn't my apartment. I don't even want to be here. Like, she's like, well, can you just like hold the apartment down for me? I'm like, all right, well, I guess I can do that. I mean, whatever. I'm still working on the thing anyway, right? But I'm like feeling better and better and better. Like I feel fine now. Like I don't understand why I was sick for so many months. And then now suddenly I was fine. And then it dawned on me that she was fucking poisoning me. She was putting shit in my food she was making for me every day to keep me ill so I wouldn't leave. And I'm like, oh no, this is no good. I gotta go. Fuck this whole project. She's not opening a floral shop. She's not opening a business. This was a ploy. This was horse shit, and I walked right into it like a dumbass. And I called my mom, and I'm like, yo, this is what's been going on. And she's like, that's fucked. Let's get you out of there. So we packed up everything and left. And actually donated most of the stuff that was in the apartment we took to the Salvation Army and dropped off at the dock. None of that stuff was mine. I was pissed. Anyway. Shortly thereafter, she met another guy in another state. And via a different website. Yeah, I'm not going to go into the details of what all of that is because of names and potential lawsuits and stuff. She met another guy, and she felt the need to contact me and tell me that she met this guy who apparently has money and all of that. And I'm like, I don't care. Go be happy. Go poison him for a while or something. I don't know. And she didn't like that very much. She didn't like that I was just sending her to go be happy. She wanted, I guess she wanted me to fight for her, or maybe, I don't know what her issue was, because she went and filed a protection from abuse order against me in the baby's name so that she could leave the state without my permission. I'm like, really? And I mean, the lies were just ridiculous. Like, the accusations were ridiculous. That I pointed guns at her, that I beat her daily, that I would punch her in the back of the head over and over. Do you know what would happen if I punched a female in the back of the head repeatedly? She would die. This is no joke. Anyway. So, life went on for a while. She was in another state. I didn't see her. I didn't see the baby. I got a letter in the mail a couple of years later that the baby was involved in police activity where the guy that she was staying with left my child in a running vehicle in a parking lot. My child, being my child, is smart, figured out the car seat and let herself out of the car and took a walk around the parking lot by herself at like 2 years old. I was pretty pissed about that. I made phone calls. I tried to reach out to people, but I couldn't get anything back. I was stonewalled everywhere I called. I have nothing good to say about Kentucky courts. Nothing. Anyway. Eventually, I met another person, and she lived in Indiana, and I decided that, well, we decided together that I should move out there. And I was like, all right, well, cool. And in my head, I'm like, that'll actually put me closer to the baby. Maybe I could work something out there, right? No, because my mother, in her infinite wisdom, called her, let her know that we were going to be coming through the area, and maybe we should hook up and have breakfast or something. And I'm like, really, Ma? Like, nobody's heard from this chick in years, and you just, like, randomly call her? How long have you had her phone number? Like, why wasn't I told? Anyway, or maybe she called my mom. I don't know. I don't exactly know how all that worked out. I was told mid-transit that we're going to run into her and the baby at a Waffle House. And I'm like, okay, cool. I mean, I'd love to see the baby. Why? And my mom told me that apparently she's been having trouble with the guy. And I'm like, well, I mean, I guess if he leaves the kid in the car unattended, I mean, And that's just the beginning of their troubles. It's probably a lot worse than that. So we meet at the Waffle House. Apparently the guy that she's been living with is a pillhead, and he's got all kinds of problems. And I'm like, I feel like the common denominator here is you. But alright. I was good. I kept my mouth shut. I bounced the baby around and stuff. We had a great time. But she was on her way out of state back to here. And I was on my way to Indiana. So now we're even further apart. Yay. Doesn't matter. After 3 years, me and that relationship fell apart, and I came back to where we're at now. I looked for her a couple of times. I couldn't really find her. Didn't really matter because I ended up getting a job offer that I had to move out to Missouri. But before that, somewhere in the middle there, and this is like really fuzzy and cloudy because I suffered a brain injury a couple of years ago. Me and my mother were picking up the baby from daycare every day, hanging out for like 2 hours, and then dropping her off where the baby's mother was working. So like I had her every day for like 2 hours. She was like 6 at the time, baby. Which was cool, right? Like I've got some really cool pictures of us hanging out. And anyway, I ended up getting a job in I had to move to Missouri, and I was be a fool to take it. Like my job at the time, I was a dishwasher at a local greasy spoon in a shitty little town, and I hated it. And it paid me minimum wage, and it was just a terrible job. And my boss was gropey and weird, and it sucked. So I moved out to Missouri to take a job in IT, making very good money. And it was nice. It was nice for a couple of years. I told the mother of my child at the time that, hey, we should stay in touch. You know, I'll be making really good money, so if you need anything, I will be 100% able to help you out. Also, I forgot about the part here, like somewhere in the middle there, she went to Indonesia and came back because that whole thing fell apart. Yeah, sorry, the story's a little all over the place. My memory's not great. Like I said, aforementioned fucking head injury. Anyway, so I comes back from Missouri because my department didn't exist anymore. And long story very short, I get tied up with work. I get tied up with doing. Oh, I gotta add some shit. Actually, I think everybody that's in chat is a subscriber. All right, we'll just keep telling the story since everybody in Twitch chat is a subscriber and there is no one in YouTube chat. Anyways, I comes back from Missouri. I land at my parents again, which is very cool. Like I've always had a place at my parents' house, always, because I'm the only child that's trustworthy. And I dated a few people here and there. Mostly I just worked, though. Mostly I just worked. Like 6 days a week, sometimes 7 days a week, working at Dunkin'. And that's when I met this wonderful lady right here. I'm sorry, say hi. And I mean, at that point, you know, I'm like the little girl that I had started the story about so many years ago is now like, what, she was probably like 15 or so, or 14 when we met. No, younger than that even. Right, so she was 11. Well, she's almost 18 now. So anyway, Nancy here, being the internet sleuth that she is, finds her. And I wasn't too concerned about it, right, for the most part. This working on the assumption that anything I would do to try to reach out to my little girl was going to be stonewalled and met with issues because her mother hated me and was willing to do anything in her power to prevent me from seeing the child because she knew it would hurt me at this point. Again, there are big hunks of this story that I have to omit for legal reasons. Um, but anyway, essentially, I just let it be. And I was like, look, when she's an adult, she's my child, and she will inevitably come find me. Well, then my brother died. And you all were in Discord like when that happened. I made an announcement about that. It wasn't that long ago. And Nancy was like, look, you should probably reach out to her. Like, she's almost 18, but she's not yet. But you should reach out anyway because none of us really know how much time we have left. And I'm like, you're right. You're right, I should. I could go to work tomorrow and die. Like, I could go to work with my buddy and I can be down at the scrapyard and get crushed by a giant magnet. They have one. Like, it could happen. It probably won't, but it might. So, I reached out and we started talking. And I discovered very quickly that my little girl lives in an absolutely awful environment. That she feels like she is treated like an object and a possession and a burden more than she is a human being. But there's not a lot I can do about it, right? Then, a little over a week ago, I get a message from her. Just says, hey, things went all bad. She had a gigantic explosion of a fight with her mother, and she didn't want to go home. I'm like, all right, well, at this point, she's a runaway, right? Like, she's out running around. She doesn't want to go home. I'm like, I don't want my kid roaming the streets in the middle of the night, refusing to go home. Like, there is bad stuff out there. So I jumped in my truck and I went and picked her up. And I brought her back here. And I told her that you need to tell your mother where you are. You need to tell your mother where you're going and who you're with. I don't want her reporting you missing. I don't want her reporting you kidnapped or any of that. And then her mother posted a thing on Facebook saying she was missing, knowing full well where the hell she was. Oh yeah, and then also said she was in danger. Yeah. So I told my little girl, just do me a favor and comment under that stupid post on Facebook and just tell her, just say you know exactly where I am and I'm not in danger. And she did. And her mother deleted the post because it made her look like an asshole, which was very funny. Anyway, I think I had said, no, I didn't say. Last Thursday, I was served with an emergency custody relief. Friday. That's right, Friday. It went into effect Thursday. They came and served it Friday. Yeah, Friday after business hours. So I could not call legal support. I could not, or legal aid. I couldn't call anyone to help get any of this straightened out. I had to just eat it for the weekend. And the court date was set for today. So I had yesterday to get all of this sorted out as quickly as possible. It's not going to happen. It's not. The application process for legal aid takes longer than that. And she knows what she did. She's not stupid. So I'm like, okay. So I spent the entire weekend absolutely stressed, which is why I've been streaming like really off and on. I've been dealing with all of this. I amassed all the messages, the Discord messages that me and her had back and forth, the various photographs and stuff that I have of important things. I can't go into what. But basically things that prove that the environment she lives in at that house is terrible. Is terrible, and she needs to not be there. So he goes in front of the judge today, and the fucking judge stonewalled me. This judge refused to hear anything I had to say. Didn't want to hear anything from any of these text conversations that I had. Wanted to hear nothing of photos. Didn't care. Did not care at all. That judge had it in her head that she was going to award full custody back to her mother, and I was going to go get fucked with a cactus. And that's functionally what happened, right? Because now the only communication I'm allowed to have with my child, I can write fucking letters and put a stamp on it like it's 1912. And anything outside of that is contempt of court. And I get to go to jail for 6 months. Minimum. Contempt of court is a 6-month sentence every time. It is a flat fee you pay. There is no variance on that. So that's where I'm up to today. That's events up to today. Here's what's coming. Before the emergency relief was served, I went down to the courthouse and I filed for full custody. Properly. Not an emergency custody order, just custody. So that court date is going to get set, and she's going to be served summons. And we're going to go do this again. In a different county. And even if that doesn't work, even if that goes nowhere, even if that judge decides that I'm an awful human being and I should never be around my own child, say, which probably isn't going to happen, but we'll say worst case scenario, that's what happens. That child turns 18 at the end of this year. And if by chance that baby's mother happens to be watching this stream, I want you to know that through your own action, when she's an adult, you will probably never see her again. And it will be because you did this. End of lore drop. That's it. Put a fucking end tag on this. We're gonna do it. Just like that. Bang, we're done. Up until now, anyway. That's where we're at. Yeah, it's a bomb. Like, I've been dealing with a lot back here, and I'm not. Hold on. It's out on the kitchen table where I left it. Shit. Just throw the dart at him. Not yet. Not yet. FNAF. In about 3 months, maybe. Because then the story will have a real conclusion. Because once she's an adult, she can do whatever she wants. No one can stop her. And she knows how to reach out to me. She knows how to get in touch with me. She's a registered user on our Discord. All she needs is to be able to log into it. Or she can reach me on Facebook. Or she can reach the wife on Facebook. Or she has 1,000 ways to contact me. And I gave her all of the options. If the shit hits the fan again, she knows how to get a hold of me. So if her mother thinks it's a good idea to pack her up and move across the country again, she can still reach out to me. And trust me, there is nowhere I won't go to get her back. If she says, Dad, come get me, I am on the next plane, truck, bus, but fucking whatever. Ship, if necessary. Probably plane. I don't like ships. At all. Yeah, that's how that's going to have to be. Like, ships catch fire in the water, and then there's nothing you can do. Half the time, most of the lifeboats die with the boat. I'll take a plane. Then I know I'm going to die. If it goes down. Right, that's what I said, FNAF. Like, and that's one of the things that came up in court today. The judge had the audacity to say to me, well, that's why we don't let 17-year-olds make their own decisions. In 3 months, she's a legal adult. Do you really think her mind is going to change in 3 months? I was a teenager. Like, I know everybody looks and I'm old and I'm bald and I'm this ancient friggin' guy with this really deep gravelly voice. I promise you, a long time ago, sometime after the dinosaurs went extinct, I was a kid. And I remember teenagers cannot have their mind swayed or changed. We just got really, really irritated when people would try to and double down on our shit 100 times over until it finally bit us in the face. Am I wrong? So was I. Mostly. So. Yeah, once upon a time. No, I was a rambunctious teenager. I was rough and tumble. I fought a lot. I was always getting in fights. Mostly because I had a major issue with people putting their hands on me. It's kind of one of those. Bite it. No teeth. Yeah, if you put your hands on me, I was probably going to light you up. You're going to get yours later. Yeah. You look like a jousting victim and shit. I don't care. This is not an adult. This is not a child-safe chat. I have it marked for adult. No, actually I don't. Yeah, no, I did not send the content classification. That's all right. Just keep doing that one. Anyway. So that's what's been going on up until now. It's why I've been hit and miss with streams. I've been dealing with having an almost 18-year-old here. There's a lot of juggling and jostling things around, trying to get everything organized so that everybody's comfortable. And then, you know, the almost 18-year-old getting drug out of here by a constable, and then dealing with the aftermath of that, because that had pretty negative consequences for the children that are still here, you know. The kids are very, very upset about this whole thing. So. Yeah. Kevman was not doing good on that. Yeah, I know he's still not. Tell you what, though, he played a hell of a game of football. Boy, put all of that rage to good use. I mean, he was fucking dudes up bad. He played the team he played. He was hitting these kids so hard that his helmet is stained with the red dye from their jerseys. Oh, maybe. Like he was just like he got like four or five sacks by himself. Like he just plowed through the line and he was just taking, like he hit the quarterback so hard at one point. I'm pretty sure he tried to take his head off. Oh, their face masks are, oh, it's the red from their face mask. All right, so yeah, the kids were depositing red dye from their face masks on his helmet. He was just running through them. Like, I was super proud because I told him like a couple of days ago, I was like, dude, you got to get angry out there. Like, you got to get mad. Like, you can't just go out there and all willy-nilly put your hands on these kids. You got to hit them with intent to hurt them. You know, they're in pads. You're not actually going to hurt them. Like, they have shoulder pads and helmets and ribbies, and they have all the gear on, all the same gear you got on. Okay? And I push him over all the time on the field, you know, just clowning around with him. You know? And, he figured it out. he figured out Sunday, and it was one of those things that I saw that made me like super proud, but also made me want to cry because I knew exactly where all of that rage was coming from.
This is right after he had this kid.
Yeah.
He is helping him up. This kid is actually hurt.
Yeah. 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 Ever the sportsman too. He would wreck these kids, but then he would help them up, which is nice. It's good to see good sportsmanship. I like that. Yeah, I don't lie. Yeah, no, good sportsmanship is a great thing. So, but yeah, it made me kind of sad because I knew that all of that rage was coming from all of this going on, and I knew that he was hurt. Like he was hurting inside pretty bad, and he still is. And you know, we're working through that as best we can. Ultimately, it's not one of those things that's going to be able to be fixed easily or quickly. Just hold out my hopes that when the oldest is 18, that she will still want to be here, and I 100% believe that she will, and we will do what we have to do then. So. Yeah. Yeah, exactly. And I will actually show that right here. I'm gonna isolate the text. No, I'm not, actually. Can I not do that? That's good enough. Right here. And also she likes quiche, which is awesome because I can make quiche. But this was sent to me from the back of her mother's car as they were taking out of her on Friday. How upset do you have to be to send that? Wait. Anyway. Right. Now, as the judge pointed out, and I am inclined to agree to a very small degree, part of that could have been just being afraid of being in trouble. I mean, she is still a teenager, and that's absolutely a thing. Right, but yeah, and I mean, you don't want to say it, but very loudly, but I'll say it just plenty loudly because it was admitted to me openly. They have a history of beating children with a belt in that house, so a little bit of fear to go home is not unexpected and not necessarily misplaced. Like, I'll reach out and touch somebody on the butt cheeks pretty quick. Like, if you're acting like a goddamn tool, but a belt? No, we don't do that. This isn't 1980. Like, we don't do that. That's probably about it for me too. Oh. Oh yeah, you told me that story. Yeah. Yeah. Yeah, that was a whole thing too. That was amazing. I thought I was gonna have to fight that dude just because my only experience with children and youth has been absolutely terrible. You know. But yeah, not me. Yeah, when CYS came here because one of the required reporters at the school saw that the oldest here had what looked like a handprint on the back of her arm. It was an infection. It was staph infection. But it looked like a handprint. They sent children and youth here. I guess. I mean, I'm pretty sure if that person would have looked at it just a little bit more closely, they would have figured out that that's not what it was. Right. Yeah, so when children and youth came here, I thought it was fighting this dude. I really did. I was like, I'm going to jail today. All right, let's do it. You did. So. Yeah. So. Anyway, that's all I've got tonight. There's no TTS. I just wanted to get the story out. And I mostly want to get the story out so that it is recorded. And because remember, I dual stream. I stream to Twitch and to YouTube. YouTube saves all of my streams as videos. And I wanted to kind of like video document everything that's happened up until now. This is mostly for my own archives because, again, as I've said several times, I suffered a head injury a couple of years ago that kind of fucked me up real bad. Like, my memory is shot, which is really, really annoying considering I use my memory often when I'm programming. And it does get in the way. I tend to fuddle details. I forget the order of things happening, which was never a thing before. I mean, I was tested at having 190 IQ. My ability to recall information was in the upper, like, 3 percentile of the country. And I'm nowhere near that anymore. Nowhere near. Like, I still like to joke around and say that I have 190 IQ, but if I was actually tested, it's probably about 150 now. Or possibly less. Because of that. But, you know, we all have our crosses to bear. That one's fine. Anyway, I'm going to wrap this up now. Spend some time with the wife, possibly drink some Fireball. And I will see you all probably tomorrow night. Probably. If you don't see me, I'm probably still drinking the Fireball. Good night, all. I appreciate you all joining me and visiting my very long monologue of stuff of non-interactability. I will have I probably have TTS up and running again tomorrow. I turned it off so that TTS wouldn't interrupt me. All right. So, good night all. I'll see you all tomorrow.